Welcome to Extra Extra, presented by VDG Sports. I am your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. No filter. Very censored. I was definitely singing, dancing, making my chest pop, doing what it do, doing all of the above. And it's been a long time since we've had a show, an episode like this, but I think it is time. I've protected the guilty long enough in the game, and this time the guilty ain't me. This time the guilty is not me. There are certain things that come about, and it make you open your eyes and make you pay attention a little bit more. And then you realize that it's happening way too often. And then you start questioning, then you start questioning some more. You maybe accept, maybe you challenge, but regardless, you are entertained. You are. And I'll get there. I will get there. I just didn't know that it was a large number of people that thought this, even with my small sample size. If I just extrapolate it out, it still would be a large number. And you know how I am with numbers. And no, I'm not talking about you flat earthers. You get a, well, I'm not going to say you get a pass, but I'll get the you, but just not in the same way. Noobs, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for pressing that button. Thank you for continuing on for however long you survived or wanted to stay around. I'm just giving you a standing ovation right now. You can't see it. I'm even giving you some flea claps. You just can't see it. Greatly appreciate it. Regs, we back at it again. Regs, we do what we do. Regs, this feels like every single day, but it's not every single day. It just feels that way because we got the special what? Unique bond. Sharing is caring, but you shouldn't share everything. We don't know what to call it, but that's okay because we will retroactively say this is what it is, this is what it was, and this is what it always will be. We don't need no words. We don't need to know what to call it. We know how it feels. And speaking of no words, it's been a long time, but this ain't for you. This is for everyone else. Shout out to my nonverbal communicating peeps. We communicate nonverbal and nonverbally. Therefore, you don't need this. This is for everyone else. This is a friendly reminder to everyone else. There's levels to this. There are levels to this, and you need to max out on that nonverbal communicating level. And once you reach that peak, just keep going because there's another hidden level. If you know, you know. Okay. Okay. So it's gonna take me. This is gonna take some. This is going to take some creative thinking to get to where we need to go. But I have faith. I have confidence that we will get there. It's just gonna take some creative thinking, some outside the box thinking, some lateral thinking, and yes, I'm bringing it back. Regs, you already know. Nonverbal communicating peeps. I ain't got to say a word. I just want to give you another shout out and say your names again. But noobs, I'm talking about the I believe button. You just going to have to just go ahead and create a button. Hopefully it's red. No words need to be on it, but you need to sit it or put it in front of you or put it above you, put it somewhere where you can readily press it because I'm going to have you pressing it multiple times, or I'll just say you can just go ahead and press it when I tell you to press it, and you don't have to press it anymore. You can just visualize or just know that that is what you're pressing because it may not add up. That's okay. It may not make any sense. That is problematic, but it would be okay. And it will be okay. And that's what the I believe button is for. We're not going to follow things out to the logical conclusion. We are not going to go down rabbit holes either or either. You pick, you choose. I'm just the narrator. I am just the narrator. I came across this subset of peeps, and I didn't know they exist. I didn't know it was out there because the first time that this happened, the first time that this occurred, I was shook. I was really, really shook. I was like, whoa, because it stood out. I never heard it before. That was my first time hearing it. That was my first time being a witness to something so problematic that I actually had to take a seat. I actually had to sit down. I was standing up when I first heard this, and I just said, you know what? I need a moment. I need a moment to sit down so I can process this. I need a moment to sit down so I can process this. And I don't want to fall over processing this because this is something that is going to have my hamster running upon running upon running like he was training for not even a marathon, but yeah, a sprint. A sprint that never end. And as soon as the sprint end, that was the end. If you know, you know. And this is a family show and a family program, and I'm being creative with that because that's what we do here. That is what we do. The first time I heard it, I had to take a seat. I had to sit down because it was something that it confused me. It shocked me. And I was rattled to the core. And I just needed some moments to process and figure this situation out. And this isn't like, and this wasn't like me coming across flat earthers, me having discussions and conversations with those who feel or believe or think that planets are flat or planets doesn't exist. And if they do, the earth is flat. I don't necessarily give them the benefit of the doubt. I just think for the most part, they're thinking too hard about the situation. They're just putting way too much thought, way too much deep, deep thinking into the matter. And that's how they come up with it's got to be flat. But I'm not talking about them. This was a something on a completely different level. And I don't think that it is deep thinking with them. I just think that they were born this way. I don't think that this is a choice for them to believe this. It's just something that they were born into, something that they was born and and that was just it. And that is just it. And I'm talking about the peeps who believe that bees make chocolate. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just go ahead and say it again. Say it again so we all on the same page here. And I'm gonna give you enough time to put your brain back in your skull or sit down or stand up if you were standing up and you hit the floor. Either or either. Once again, I'm just the narrator. I am just the narrator. You pick. You choose. I came across individual who thought and believed that bees make chocolate. First time I was like, you know what? I gotta take a seat. I gotta sit down. I gotta process this. And I processed it. And I was like, you know what? I cool. I'm just gonna press my I believe button. I'm just gonna keep this moving. No conversation needed. No talky talk. None, no debate, none of that. I'm just gonna keep it moving. I'm just gonna file that into the mental note taking, not put it in the section that's gonna keep me up at night, but put it in a section that things you never thought that you would ever hear in your lifetime category. I was like, all right, cool. And then it happened again. I was like, you know what? All right, all right. I might need to play some kind of game of chance because what are the odds of me? What are the odds of that occurring? Not just once, but twice in the same year. Twice in the same year. That time, though, I didn't need to take a seat. That time, the processing and the processes had already occurred and did what they needed to do. The second time hearing it, I was like, oh, I need to refile this. I need to file this in the category of WTF. Really? WTF. And then, okay, refiled it. No debate, no talky talk, none of that necessary. Because I was like, it's in the proper category. It's one of those things that you see. It's one of those things that happen, and you kind of just let it go. You go with the flow. You ignore it. You just keep it moving. You just do what it do, and you're like, oh, okay. Like when people have something on their face and you don't want to tell them because you're just only going to be around them for so long and they're not really your friend, they're not really your enemy, but you don't want to waste or you don't want to utilize all of the energy you have because as soon as you say something, it's going to turn into something bigger than what it already is. And you don't want to put that much energy and effort into it. It was one of them. It was one of those situations. And so I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, whatever. Then it happened again, a third time. I just had to take some deep breaths the third time around. And I was like, okay, this apparently isn't going away. Apparently, this is something new. Apparently, this is something that I'm going to have to utilize some resources into, figure this out, put more energy into this because it's not gonna go away and it's not going away. So I'm gonna have to identify how I am going to address this, identify how I am going to move forward once this occurs again, because it's not something that just randomly happens or randomly happen, because it keeps occurring. Not in not daily, not even weekly, but it's happened more often than not. It's happened more times in my lifetime in the past year. And therefore that just led me to believe, because I had to press the I believe button too. I had to press the I believe button too, because it's one of the things that's going to keep me from staying up at night trying to be Sherlock Holmes and figure and pinpoint where this and when this started. Figure it out, pinpoint it out, when this occurred, when this happened, start doing some research about bees, start doing some research about people and thoughts on bees. And I can I can envision it eventually happening, but I'm just gonna try to push that to the left as far as I can before I really truly do have to address it. So as of now, I'm just gonna go ahead and press my I believe button and just say these people and people who believe that and think that they're just born that way. It's not that they're trying to be smart. It's not that they're trying to outthink you and be the smartest person in the room like the flat earthers. No, 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 no. This is a different individual. They ain't one of the same. In fact, I'm gonna have to seek out one of my flat earther friends. Friends? Yeah. Yeah, friends. We're gonna go with friends because people are friends like robots. I'm gonna have to seek out one of the flat earthers and try to see what they think about that. And can the two be the same? Do they viewpoints align or do they diverge? Do they converge or do they diverge? And that's going to require some energy. That's going to require me putting in the time, me putting in the effort. And I'm going to do this so you don't have to. I am going to do this so you don't have to. When it comes time to stay up late, late, late at night, I will stay up late, late, late at night, putting in the energy, putting in the effort, trying to figure out how and why bees make chocolate. How and why bees make chocolate instead of honey, peeps. Because I'm at the moment, ATM, thinking and believing that it just was born that way. They were just born into thinking that, and that is what it is. There was never a challenge. There was never the opportunity to meet a bee. There was never an opportunity to see bees firsthand and their hives and their nests, or yeah, where they live, or do some research on honey, do some research on plants and pollination and how milk is made and where milk comes from and what milk actually is to a cow. That is something that I'm waiting and hoping to entertain. It hasn't arise. It hasn't occurred. It hasn't been my lucky day for that. Therefore, I'm just gonna have to do what needs to be done. But I'm gonna put it off as long as possible. I'm gonna put it off as long as possible. And hopefully your I believe button still works and it didn't break. Cause yeah, bees make chocolate, according to not me, but some peeps who were born to believe that. I need some questions because I got answers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Be sure to check out the new and improved website at extravdgsports.com. That is XTRA, VDG, SPRTS.com. There's a YouTube as well. It's back, up, and running. Everything is there. And that is VDG, XTRA, VDG. Like, subscribe, share. Basically, do whatever it is you do there. Comment if you must. Comment if you must. We clap back. Noob and noobs. Hopefully you're still here. If not, thank you anyway. Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those. Regs, I'm just gonna say, don't break the button. Don't break the button. And peace out.